All right, moving on, the Ministry of Economy is set to launch Malaysia's Natural Gas Roadmap in the second or third quarter of this year, aiming to ramp up investments and position natural gas as a long-term pillar of the country's energy mix. With a current contribution of 52 billion ringgit to economic growth, the government seeks to strengthen regulatory frameworks, expand infrastructure and ensure long-term supply security. However, industry players face pressing challenges, which are declining domestic reserves, rising costs of LNG imports, and the need for a clear pricing mechanism that balances affordability with investment attractiveness. As Malaysia prepares for a future where it may transition from an LNG exporter to a net importer, businesses in the sector are looking for solutions to ensure market competitiveness, secure financing for infrastructure expansion, and navigate evolving regulatory frameworks. While the government is working to outline its strategic direction, the industry must also adapt to global energy trends, balancing natural gas expansion with the broader energy transition. So what are the key concerns from an industry perspective, and what are the real challenges and opportunities that businesses face in this evolving landscape? To help us answer these critical questions, we have Khairulanwar Zakaria, Secretary General of Malaysia Gas Association MGA, on the line. Perhaps good morning firstly, and we know that many industry players are looking for clarity on regulatory changes and how they will impact the operations. So in your opinion, what are the key barriers companies currently face in gas market liberalization, and how can the government work with the industry to ensure a smooth transition that encourages investment and also competition at the same time?
Assalamualaikum. Good morning. Thank you very much for inviting MGA to share the gas industry insight on this critical topic. The National Natural Gas Roadmap is pivotal, and we aim for a competitive, secure and sustainable gas market. To achieve this, it requires a balanced and collaborative approach. At the same time also, it requires effective and seamless execution. With regards to the key barriers to the gas market liberalization and gas need, there are a few. I would probably touch on 4 items. Number one is actually relating to price disparity. I think the Malaysian domestic gas price remains to be lower than the global benchmark, mainly to the current price mechanism that is in place. And this somehow would have impact to the long-term LNG contracts that is required to supplement the domestic supply production. Number 2 is actually infrastructure gaps. As we move forward, I think we will be relying a lot more on imported energy. For gas, it is going to be in terms of LNG, liquefied natural gas. And for that to happen, we need to have infrastructure ready to receive this imported gas. At the moment, we also require to put in investment to maintain and upgrade the existing infrastructure. And the third one is actually about market participation. I think in Malaysia, the gas market is actually somewhat open with the introduction of third-party access. But currently, there is very limited participation from the players. I think we only have about 17 active shippers in the market, and we would like to see more players coming in. And obviously, to facilitate this, more involvement from other players, we probably need to relook at the current the market dominance of certain players, and definitely this will be one of the things that will be touched and looked into by the Natural Gas Roadmap. And finally, I think that's also important that we have a very certain regulatory approach. I think, as we know, natural gas investment is something that is capital intensive, require long gestation period. And for that, we need to ensure the investment is something that is viable, and clear regulatory framework would provide this certainty to the investors.
Like I mentioned, Khairul, one of the most important things to look at is on the strategy and also market participation. But expanding regasification terminals and also pipeline networks requires heavy capital investment, like I mentioned earlier. So from an industry perspective, what are the biggest risks and bottlenecks in infrastructure expansion, and what kind of policy support or financing mechanisms would make these projects more viable?
Thank you, Nabila, for that question. I think, as mentioned, I think heavy investment is required. And for this investment to happen, I think there is a requirement to ensure there is clear and also consistent application of policies. Yeah? In terms of the investors, they are looking for something that is certain. And by having a policy that is clear, that will help to attract the investment that is required. And besides that, I think as stated in the National Energy Transition Roadmap, gas is expected to play a major role. And for that, I think the industry requires some form of incentive from the government. We can see that renewable is getting a lot of limelight, and government has actually stepped in to promote renewable energy by giving a lot of incentive. So for gas to actually fulfill its role that is expected under the National Energy Transition Roadmap, we believe that equal focus and attention to also be given to natural gas industry. So in terms of specific incentive, we can look at potentially in terms of facilitation of investment, for example, in terms of one-stop centers. And also, we need to also have some form of tax incentive in terms of maybe capital allowances. And in terms of other support would also be in terms of making sure that, the gas industry receive sufficient access to funds. As mentioned, we require a lot of money for investment. So it's necessary that we have access to funds. At the same time also, we must make sure that there is sufficient amount of fund that is available. So those are the things. And on top of that also, there could also be support in terms of promotion of technologies and also enhancing the capability of our local industry as well as our local resources.
And we have about 2 minutes left, Khairul, with Malaysia expected to become a net LNG importer. Price volatility and cost competitiveness are major concerns for industries reliant on stable gas supply. So how can the industry work with policymakers to develop pricing mechanism that ensures affordability while maintaining investment attractiveness? Earlier you mentioned about the tax incentive or some kind of resources that we need. So in your opinion, how can we maintain the investment attractiveness in the longer term?
So when we talk about LNG import, I think we are going to be a net LNG importer as early as 2027. So for that to happen, I think we need to have a lot more infrastructure in terms of regasification terminal. And for us to import LNG, we have to understand that this is a globally traded commodity, and we must make sure that there is sufficient attractive signal for people to actually deliver the LNG to Malaysia. So in terms of what is required, I think we need to actually move on to a much more market-based pricing environment. And we also need to actually ensure that this pricing mechanism is something that is visible for other people, other suppliers around the world to see it. And once they have seen the right price signal, that will actually attract this LNG to our country. With regards to the Malaysian, users, so we need to be prepared in terms of collaborating with potential suppliers, trying to get the best deal. At the same time also, there could be some other tools that can be used. In advanced market, for example, there is these hedging tools, and other market-based tools to assist the buyers to have a much more stable and also secured LNG price.
If I may add one last question, Khairul, while we see that natural gas is positioned as the key component of Malaysia's future energy mix, industries are also under pressure to actually decarbonize. So what are the practical challenges industries face in balancing gas reliance with sustainability goals, and how can the government and industry collaborate to integrate cleaner gas technologies such as carbon capture or hydrogen into long-term planning?
Yes, I think decarbonization is one of the, I think, very popular topic these days. And the gas industry is actually doing its part to make the gas cleaner. And that comes in ways such as the carbon capture utilization facilities, CCUS. And we also try to actually bring in a much cleaner gas source in the light of biogas and also hydrogen. We believe that currently there is support from the government in terms of policy, because both Natural Energy Transition Roadmap has actually touched on hydrogen and also biogas. In fact, for hydrogen, we also have hydrogen roadmap. So what we need now is actually more detailed execution plan, and for us to actually proceed with the real execution. So in terms of support, I think policy-wise we are good. I think we just need to detail out the action plan and actually execute this so-called action plan effectively.
And of course, indeed, we need a holistic approach for a seamless transition towards becoming a net LNG importer. So I'd like to say thank you so much to Khairulanwar Zakaria, Secretary General of Malaysia Gas Association, MGA. And you can find this whole conversation on all of our social media platforms.